welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host as always, Tina. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, Rob. How you doing?
I'm exhausted.
I
I worked 10 hours today, was up at 3, gym at 4. It's been a day.
I get
tired. But, you got to love this very, very, very warm summer.
Yeah. It started early too. I'm impressed that it's gone so long.
I have a feeling
it's not getting cooler.
No, I think we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think me and the girl down the street were talking about it like late May. And, we had like a run of a week. And I remember both of us went, I think this may be a bad one. And I don't think it's been under 90 since then. It's been bad. And we're only in early July. Woo! I think we're gonna have a October summer, I think.
I don't know if it's gonna go that.
I hope not. But
starts early, it normally ends earlier.
That's true. Maybe we'll get the traditional like old school when we were in school, and it'll end in like the very beginning of September.
That would be nice, huh?
That would be awesome. Yeah. That would be super awesome. I'm down for that. So let's hope. But yeah, lots going on in the world, and I think we've decided maybe we'll talk about the elephant in the room, because the former president of this country was almost assassinated and killed.
Yeah. I was on my way back from Oceanside, and I had a few phone calls and a few texts, and my friend that always watches the news, she was kind enough to give me the blow by blow as it was happening. So I feel like I know a little bit, and I did watch the news, believe it or not, to see what was going on, see what they showed, and I was kind of surprised at that for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, was I surprised? Not really, but I mean, it's shocking. Mm-hmm. I think
it is
mostly because you look at the tilted world we've lived in. We've had Biden for a while. We had Barack Obama, which never had an assassination attempt against him, which you would have thought, right? If this country was extremely racist, as everyone thinks, they gave him 8 years and not one time. So I do believe that the society at large is definitely different, and they're probably a tad scared now because he has such a huge lead. And after our debate, man, it's kind of hard to think that Trump isn't definitely leading in a lot of states.
Yeah, I don't exactly keep up on all that. I heard about the debates, and it sounded kind of embarrassing on Biden's side. But yeah, I got opinions on Trump's side too. I mean, are we really going to have a convicted felon as our president? When I was under the assumption if you were a felon, you couldn't vote. So how can you not vote, but you could run for presidency? I think that's a kind of hypocritical thing to
would that be kind of an oxymoron?
You think so? A little bit?
But unfortunately, it is true, and he can actually run the country from prison.
Yeah, and that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And not that I'm not on either side. I think we need to throw everybody back out there and find new people that actually have some moral or values in their personal life to try to run for presidency, because these guys are a trip. But, that's just me. Everybody's got their own opinion on who they want to see. But I think that as a country, we should be able to do way better than these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that for me, a lot of it has to do with age. I think we've got out of hand. Look, I also don't think that someone 45 should run the country. but that's my own kind of thing. I think that you have to have some, you know, long term understanding of things. Um, but that being said, I think both candidates being almost 80 years old is definitely not a good idea either.
Yeah, they should be retired. There's a reason we have a retirement age. And
Yeah.
if it's over 70, I don't believe that they are equipped to do what they need to do to run the country.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can argue if the mental stability of the person that's there and you're supposed to pass certain things. I think that, look, I'm okay with certain things. I just think that we're at a point where it's like, look, with everything in politics, you shouldn't have people that have been in the same position for 40 years. And
Yeah, there
we have that.
definitely needs to be some change in our term limits for sure.
Yeah.
Because
I
there's
think,
skeletons running our country. That's no joke.
yeah, that's without a doubt. I mean, people who are definitely, at the age limit of death.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you can't, I like the 8 years. I think, look, if we're giving the president 8 years, we should give Congress and, the House 8 years. You have 8 years to fix shit. And if you don't, you got to go. Like,
even
it's
if you
time
don't, it should be turned over.
Yeah. Just because you keep fresh people in there with fresh ideas and different ways of looking at things.
And hopefully people that share your same ideals.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of that by where you're at in the country. But, you could probably argue it for the state that we live in, that if you looked at the voting for this state, if it wasn't for San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego, Republican would win every time. They almost win every county.
Yeah.
It's very the last president who's won this state was Reagan in the 80s. So that should tell you something. It is a very democratic state. I think that we've let this state get out of hand with a lot of the things that we believe in. We've voted in people that have no business, and I'm talking at a very small level, not just the mayor and the governor, which our governor is a whole other monster. I mean, obviously I lean conservative, and I probably, 15 years ago, I would have been center liberal. I was very different. I think as you grow older, you change. I just think we're at a point where people are trying to kill ex-presidents because they're going to get elected. That's scary. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had a president almost assassinated since Reagan. And the crazy thing, do you know that I saw something that was pretty interesting? They showed the presidential election for the year that after his second term, he won every state but one. And that was the Democrats' home state. He won everything. California, New York, every single one but Minnesota. So,
well, let's see what happens with Trump now.
Yeah, I think, look, it's a different thing. I think, Trump has his own issues, right? He's loud. He's, very, he's a nationalist. He's very pro-America. So a lot of people, unfortunately, in this country have changed. There a lot of people, a lot of young, far left. And I don't want to say liberals or Democrats, because I think that if we say that, we're pigeonholing a lot of people that probably aren't. But the far left and the far right are scary in this country.
I agree with that.
And I think that the far left are, hate the country they live in. And fortunately, a lot of people don't like to hear it, but love it or leave it. If you don't like it here, there's a lot of countries you can move to. But people won't leave because they understand the freedoms they have. So I'm one of those people that it's like, if you don't like it, shut the fuck up. Like, unfortunately. But I believe that there's things to fix in this country as well. Like, everything's not perfect. we have a pretty good country. I mean, for the people that I've known who've gone to, and I mean third world countries, because they were shooting guns at other people, they'll tell you this country is pretty good. I had a friend who watched a girl get stoned right in front of him and couldn't do anything because he was undercover as a civilian in that country. So he couldn't do anything. He watched it all happen. So he has a very large hatred for a lot of those countries. But he'll tell you, like, with all the faults this country has, it's pretty damn good. And it's the most less racist country he's ever been to. So put that in consideration. And he's been to a couple that they're pretty bad. And so, you know, we're pretty open here. And I think that we've gotten a lot better, obviously, in the last 50 years with race relations. I think, look, our media stokes a lot of this. They're not helping the situation. And that counts for all media. And I'm not, you know, the media is ran by the left pretty much, with all due respect to Fox News, which is ran by a conservative, but even they're slanted. You know, anything you watch is pretty slanted.
Any news is slanted. I was saying that. Yeah. I actually watched the news. Plus, I was at a friend's house when the news was on and seeing both sides. They're both way slanted to favor their own views instead of giving us the news as it's happening and only the facts, which is what I thought the news was, and allowing us to make our own decisions on what's going on. So I'm not a fan of watching the news, nor do I believe everything that I'm hearing, seeing, reading, watching. It's, you know, it's all over the place.
I would say that I believe way less than I did 10 years ago. I would say I may believe 10% of the news, just because it's well, and it's overly directional. Like, look, we had 4 years or 3 years of Biden, and all the liberal news has said is Trump's name. He wasn't even president. This was a guy running his own business still. So, you know, and the felony charges we can talk about all we want. Like it was a thing that had to do with his business. What he did is what every other business has ever done. You know, so to railroad him into that is a whole other monster. So to say that he's a felon, you know, we can argue that until we're blue in the face. You know, that's like saying Hunter Biden is just as much a criminal, but you won't see any news outlet saying that. So yes, I think that we live in a very jaded political spectrum, to the point where a lot of people aren't even voting anymore because they don't believe that it means
a lot
anything.
of people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people I know saying I don't even vote. And I'm like, if you don't vote, how is this ever going to get better?
And I think we're getting to a point where there's so many people not voting that it's hurting either side. Mm-hmm. I believe this election coming up in November is going to be there's going to be a lot of people voting. I think.
Let's hope so. I mean, they should. We live in a country where we have democracy for a reason, and everybody should vote. Mm-hmm. There's no reason.
Very true. It's funny, speaking of democracy, because I think that a lot of people, you know, this isn't a democracy, what we live in, at least in the United States. Kind of. It's, you know, this is as much we vote, but that's not, you know, this is a constitutional republic. It's based on our Constitution. So our laws start at that, unlike some places where they'll tell you that it's a democracy and they'll vote and change everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we need to kind of go back to that. And look, we can argue the Constitution until we're blue in the face as well, because, some people say that it needs to be changed, and there'll be other people that'll tell you that it's the perfect document. So, but fortunately, that's how this country was founded. And it was founded on that, and we need to stick to that.
As far as like getting back to Trump being had an attempt on his life,
Assassination.
Mm-hmm. Assassination.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to look at that. I'm already seeing a bunch of things on social media and people talking of different things about how it was a planned situation, that it wasn't just one person acting alone. There was supposedly a woman behind him, right behind the podium, that was taking pictures. She was not afraid of the shots or anything. Then they're saying there's another conspiracy thing, that it was one of the Kennedys was standing behind him and wasn't afraid of getting shot. But then there was a woman or I believe was it a woman or man that got killed? One of the bystanders.
Oh, man.
A man got killed.
Yeah, he was
Trump
protecting his daughter.
And it didn't look like the people that were there to protect Trump were even close enough to do anything. It looked like as they were running up, it was a couple of seconds away. And I thought we were supposed to have better security than that. Mm-hmm. And then they knew that person was on the roof of where the shooter was. They knew for over 3 minutes, and they didn't do anything about it. They could have stopped that before anybody even got shot.
That he ever even got a shot off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I had heard that the sniper who actually did kill him said that he had him in his sights and they didn't give him the okay.
For over 3 minutes.
So you look, conspiracy theories are great. And I hope that this all gets kind of weeded out. But yes, it definitely seems like there's a deep state. If you believe in the deep state, that the government can do whatever they want, and they will. Would it be the first time that a political party put a hit on a president? No.
Nope.
Because Abraham Lincoln was killed through the political party. Ronald Reagan was done through a nutcase. Kennedy, we can really argue the Kennedys. There's a lot of things that said that they knew too much and the government killed them. So yes, it's been done before. And to be fair, the United States has killed tons of political leaders all over the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of crazy stuff come out, because there's been a lot of people that were actually saying things like kill the president, and then this happens. I think there's going to be a lot of people's doors knocked on.
I believe that there's so much footage on exactly what happened at the time. They can't do what they did during the Kennedy assassination. They can't bury it. Everybody had their phones on. Everybody had their cameras rolling. Mm-hmm. Everybody had, movies on their phone that they were actively taking. They weren't letting that go at all. They were like, record.
You can't make this one disappear.
No. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and who's to blame, who gets blamed for it. Because that's always, because the kid that did it's only 20 years old, from my understanding.
Yes. And supposedly there's a video of him. I don't know if he was Antifa or not, but he was definitely, he had said some things about Trump. Not about killing him, but about how he hated him. So.
And then I did hear that he had dealings with Antifa. I don't know if that's exactly true. I didn't see it, well, even if we watch the news, is it right? Are they telling the truth? I don't know for fact, but that's what I was told. And even that is like, oh, great, here we go. It's always seems like there's another agenda behind everything that goes on. And that's kind of it kind of makes it hard to figure out who's who and what's what and who is behind this.
Yeah. What's the truth? And unfortunately, in this case, you know, when the documentaries start coming out, we'll be really old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Alive at all. Yeah.
Yeah. If alive at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, look, the Kennedy shit is still not 100% out.
Mm-mm.
And that was like 67 something. I think even before that.
Mm.
But it was close to that. It was somewhere in that ballpark. But
yeah.
So look, my thing is this is, and I saw someone wrote something today, and and again, whatever side of the fence you're on, more power to you. I'm pretty straightforward. I like to tell people what I believe in. But some guy posted today. He said, would just like to point out that Trump was shot at. There have been no riots, no burning cities, no looting, no mass destruction or chaos of any kind. Time to acknowledge that the liberals are 100% of the problem in a free society.
Mm.
Now, do I believe that totally? No, I think that, look, you're pigeonholing people. But that being said, I guarantee you that if Joe Biden or Barack Obama had an assassination attempt against them during their reelection, they would have burned cities to the ground.
I don't know. I think
they
that
did it over
people
George
didn't go
Floyd.
crazy because it was just his ear. I think it could have been a whole different ball game if they actually did assassinate him, or if he was like in tremendous.
Yeah, I agree with you. If they would have killed him, I think lots of bad things would have happened. I think,
but at the same time, too, I think you little shit, you've put our country into so many chaotic situations where you wanted people to fight and go against the government and everything. Well, you got what you asked for, just not in the way you thought you would. And I know that's not whatever. I shouldn't even put this on a podcast, but that's truly how I feel. He started a lot of shit over the years, and he just got a little taste of his own medicine.
I mean, I guess, but that's every politician. So every politician should be shot at?
I didn't say any of them should be. I said one got shot at, and he's lucky the only thing he got was a clipped ear.
Well, yeah.
Because it sounded like the forces that be wanted it to be more.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have turned his head, it would have killed him.
Yeah.
He just got lucky. And liberals can't shoot. I mean,
oh my God.
To be fair, if that was a Republican shooting, he'd be dead. Because they wouldn't have let him live. Because we know how to shoot. All jokes aside. But, I mean, look, I don't care what you say, you don't deserve to get shot at. My son said something that I thought was really good and very non-political. He said, at the end of the day, that's someone's dad. And he kind of had a good point. As much as I don't
it's not just somebody's dad. He's ran the country. He's trying to run the country again. It's not that simple.
No, but it is. I mean, it kind of is that simple. I mean, I wouldn't want Joe Biden shot.
He's going for a political, and he ruffles feathers. He's not quiet. He engages in this type of drama. He encourages it. He wants people to fight this. What about when they stormed the Capitol building?
And he said, "Do it peacefully." There's tons of video. There's tons of video saying when he got on the news and said, "Do this peacefully." It's everywhere.
I believe that he incites hate amongst each other. That's why our world was not our world, but our country was not this divided before he was in office. It went completely south on us.
I'll agree a little bit to that, but I don't think it's over anything of hatred, though. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Well, I would tell anyone, if you can find any footage of him saying anything racist, because he doesn't, there's nothing out there. That's all been debunked. on plenty of things. And you can't give me little cuts of things. You have to give me whole speeches where he says it, because the media will cut up anything and make it look bad. They could cut up this podcast that we're doing right now and make me look like a horrible human being, because it's easy to take sound bites and make people say things that they didn't. Lots of things have been, and again, I'm going to play both sides of the field. Like, again, Joe Biden from a political standpoint is horrible. He said bad things about a lot of people.
He can't even figure out who he's talking to.
Well, I'm just saying, even early Joe Biden, where he was somewhat coherent, or Barack Obama. I mean, I'm not, a fan of, but look, at the end of the day, I wouldn't say shoot him. I just think that it's a different thing. Like, you have to kind of step backwards and go, look, but Biden's bad for this country. We're in turmoil. We're, from a financial standpoint, a lot of people can't eat. I still wouldn't say shoot him. I'd say vote him out. So I just think that we're, so which side is more sane? If the guy can rile up somebody enough that lots of people had said that we need to get rid of Trump and like take him out, those words. So, but you don't hear that from the other side. So where is the divide really? That, and again, I'll play the conservative side just because that's kind of where I lean. But you don't see conservative people coming out going, well, we need to shoot Joe Biden and get him out of here. It's like, no, we need to vote him out and start fresh.
Oh, he's going to do himself in. He's like, Joe Biden to me is like watching the movie Weekend at Bernie's. It's like he's not in his body, and other people are moving him around like he's a marionette, and
for sure,
they're running the country. Like, he really doesn't seem like he's in his right mind when I've seen different things. At times he has moments of clarity, but let's be honest, when you don't know who a head of state is for another country and you're calling him the wrong name, like, come on, you got to get that right. Write it on your damn hand. You should know that.
He called her Vice President Trump the other day during a speech as well.
He also called somebody Putin, and I can't think of his name.
The Ukrainian president, the guy,
yes.
Yeah, the guy that they're fighting a war with.
Yes.
Yeah. No, we can argue his mind all we want. I mean, he's definitely not there, and I feel bad for him. I don't. If that was your father, you'd had retired him, and he'd be on a beach somewhere sipping a cocktail, and that's the truth, right?
Well, he should have been, but his family encouraged him to run. Like, that's kind of elder
and they
abuse.
still are.
And
they still are. I mean,
yeah.
So, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of things during the Democratic convention, because the Republican convention is going on right now, and Trump got the nomination by far. I mean, matter of fact, halfway through the states, he had already had it.
Yeah.
So he's the guy, and I'm pretty sure that they did the vice president as well today. It's a guy out of Ohio, which is not very odd because Ohio is a swing state.
So he picked his vice president, is what you're saying? I did not know that.
Yeah, I think it's a congressman from Ohio. And Ohio, like I said, Ohio's a swing state, so it's a state they need to win. And Pennsylvania is a state they need to win, where he got shot. So I think it's going to be interesting. My whole thing out of all of this is we need to kind of step back and go, look, where are we at that we're really thinking about taking the life of a political leader? And again, we're not above any other country. This is not new. Being the president of Mexico is like the most dangerous job on the planet, because the cartel there, they kill you at will and have no problem, and they'll put somebody in place the next day. So corruption isn't anything new either. This isn't anything like over the last 15 years. This is something that's been going on for a long time. Maybe we need to go back to dueling, like back where, in Hamilton, if you didn't like somebody, you went and had a duel with them, and, whoever wins is the president. You know what I mean? And I mean, when we do it with ball and cap, like old school guns too, that like don't shoot very well. Like you really got to get somebody good if you're gonna take over. If you're gonna have a duel, you have to do it with a non-modern pistol. I just think that we're at a spot right now where we're definitely, man, we have some issues. And look, I'll be shocked if Trump doesn't win. Very shocked. So what happens then? That's the bigger step as well. It'll be a interesting 4 years, that's for sure.
Well, it was interesting the first time he was president.
It was. And I made more money in those 4 years than I have ever in my whole life. The economy was amazing. We weren't in any wars at all. He's the only sitting president that's never been in a conflict, ever. So he was doing something right. We had tariffs from China. One of his things he wants to do is get rid of income tax. That's one of his things. He wants to raise tariffs on everyone bringing stuff in, so Americans will never have to pay income tax.
That wouldn't be a bad thing, considering how much we are paying, and we're getting taxed on the front end and the back end every single day.
Just think that some people will make between $5,000 and $20,000 extra dollars every year. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if you can do it, but they seem to think they can. Even if they cut it in half. It would be nice to see,
with all the taxes that they've already got, it would be nice if they would just stop taxing us and put the money that they are getting to real use, instead of lining only a very few politicians' pockets. It would be nice to see them actually doing what they need to do with the money.
We can argue until we're blue in the face over both sides' intentions. I think that's the better way of putting it.
See, and I wouldn't argue with you. I think each side is done lost
has issues.
Mind. Yeah.
No, it's very true. I think both sides have the gap is huge between belief systems now. I think that's the bigger thing. So, are we going to have another 4 years of trying to kill a president?
The same.
And then what happens if a Democrat gets into office? Are we going to have just every 4 years of trying to kill somebody? Because I think that's where we're leading if we keep going down this road, is just getting rid of your political opponents. And that's a scary, scary thought, that we're going to turn into a third world country where they'll just get rid of people at will and replace them, and you'll have to be happy. That's why
we kind of have to be happy now.
Sort of. When they take our guns, then we're screwed, because we can still fight now. That's the only thing
we shouldn't allow them to take our guns, though.
No, trust me, that they don't want to come for them. A lot of people are going to get their lives taken if they decide to really confiscate guns.
Right.
The powers that be in these other countries, it's the army that goes and does it, and they're generally very slanted towards the leader, right? Because they don't want to lose their lives. It would be interesting to see what happens it's going to be interesting to see what happens no matter who gets in. Because 4 more years of this, you won't have to worry about much, because none of us will be eating.
That's true.
I mean, rent's at an all-time high. Groceries are at an all-time high. Gas is at an all-time high.
Electricity is an all-time high. Everything
water,
in this world is at a record high.
Yeah. So 4 more years of this, we're in trouble.
They did a study of the top 10 cities that have homelessness in them. 6 of the cities are in California. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Los Angeles,
I think
San Diego, San Jose, San Francisco.
Probably Sacramento. I wouldn't be shocked.
There were 2 more. I couldn't believe it when I was looking at that.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I know we have a lot of homeless, but shit, like 6 out of 10 cities.
Yeah. And I'm going to guess probably New York, Austin, Texas is another one I know is really high on that list as well.
There was a Texas, there was a Washington, and there was an Arizona State. I
Oh,
can't remember
Arizona.
the fourth
Wow.
one. I can't remember the fourth or the last one, but all the rest of them were California.
Wow. See
Mm-hmm.
that? I mean, so.
And we get taxed more than all the other states in the union. Why is it that we have the highest homelessness? That kind of burns me up too. Because if we got all this money, if you're getting all this money in taxes, why aren't our homeless taken care of?
Because though that money is going somewhere else.
Yeah, it's going to people's pockets. It's not going to helping who needs to be helped.
For sure.
We don't even have good roads. They're working everywhere on fixing the roads, which they should have done over 25 years ago when the 94 earthquake, that's more than 90, it's like 24 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, they've left these roads to take a shit. And then the freeways, you drive the freeways here in Los Angeles, and it's like driving a mini roller coaster for kids, up and down, up and down. There's not smooth sailing on these freeways anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be, but now they're not even kept up. So take all that money that you're not fixing the potholes and get these homeless people off the street and get them the meds they need to be, completely able to
functioning
handle
members
themselves.
of society.
Yes.
Yeah. Look, I think politics in general is broken. It's been broken for many, 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 many,
Longer
many,
than we've
many
been
years.
alive.
Far longer than we've been alive. I'm guessing it probably started a lot in probably the 20s and 30s, where mobs and other things started getting a lot more corruption. Probably well before that. Who knows? I mean, it could have been during the founding fathers' time. Who knows? But I mean, it's rampant now. You have people that work in Congress who make $150,000 a year that are millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
How is someone who only makes that amount of money a millionaire? So I think we have to really kind of step back and go, it's not just Trump. And I think a lot of people, the establishment don't like Trump for a reason, because he's not like them. He's not corruptible. He's already a billionaire. How are you going to corrupt somebody who's already got a ton of money? So that's, I think, another thing that scares the bigger picture. They don't like him because he comes in and goes, yeah, I'm going to clean the swamp. And when he talks about cleaning the swamp, he's talking about getting rid of people who are on the take. And they don't want to hear that shit because they don't want to lose their income. So I think, I do believe that if things stay the same, we're in a lot of trouble. If Trump gets in, I think you're just going to see a lot more craziness happen. I'm sure riots. So buy ammo because you're going to need it.
Right.
Yeah. And that's not a joke. I would say for sure. I would say buy ammunition well before November, because it's going to become very hard to find. Because that always happens during that. That's another thing that does happen during a election season. Guns and ammo start being bought very soon because people start getting a little edgy and want to. Yeah, it's like one of the biggest parts of the year, or parts of the election cycle.
Interesting. I did not know.
I just think that, yeah, it's scary. Actually, that's scary more than anything. But I think what we need to really kind of, step back and just go, look, we as a country, I don't think that you should ever think that assassinating anyone is the answer.
Absolutely.
I think we need to really step and go, look, nothing's worth that, and you're not solving the problem. Nope. You're really making it, because I think now they've made a martyr out of him, because now people are going to vote for him just because they think that the deep state or a party is now against him, is like, they're so afraid he's going to win. They're going to try to kill him. And now other people are going to go, yeah, that's just wrong, and vote for him.
That so very well could happen.
Yeah.
It'll be
I think that's kind of what happened.
What's happening in the next couple of months.
For sure. And I think the Democratic convention, there's already rumors that they want their own little runoff. They want to have like Biden and 4 other people debate each other. And if he's not good enough, they want to replace him.
Oh, so they're at that part, huh?
That's what there's rumors going around. I was reading some stuff online today that's what is the talk, is replacing him at the Democratic convention.
Okay.
Because he's still, even though he's the guy who's running, he hasn't got the nomination from the Democratic Party yet. So they could theoretically say no. And then you want to see craziness happen. Then things are going to go crazy.
Well, then I was watching Pelosi. I'm standing behind the president until I know what his decision is. I'm like, he already made his decision.
Yeah.
So I knew something was going on, but they talk in circles, so you don't really know
I'm standing behind the president until we decide he's not running.
He decides is what she said, but I was
right,
like,
but that's what she should have said.
She doesn't
we
ever
decide.
do anything unless it's her way.
Well, because she has to gain from it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm only saying that the Democrats right now because they're in power. The Republicans are just as bad.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do the same thing. All these people that talk shit about Trump for months and months and months are all at the Republican convention this week, and they're talking him up because he's in. So if you don't talk him up, you look like you're against party lines.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all the same two-faced nonsense. It's you put the mask on to the winner because you're trying to hold your job and your money in your bank account. So I hope at some point, very, very far from now, when we're long, long, long dead and they're stomping over our corpses, that
sounded nice.
I know. Well, actually, I won't be a corpse. I'll just be a bunch of dust in the wind anyway. So, yeah. I'll hopefully be thrown in an ocean somewhere or made into a glass dragon that I told my son to make me into. There's going to be another civil war in this country at some point. I thought we'd go longer than 300 years, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I think you're going to find people who are radicals, and then you're going to find people who are constitutionalists and want to keep that document alive. And that's what they're going to fight over.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They're going to fight over people who believe in what was written and they think that still works today. And then you're going to have people who are anti-constitution and want to change everything. And that's what you're going to have to fight over. And look, revolution isn't anything new. It still happens in lots of countries in Central America where they fight over everything. And, look at Egypt a couple of years ago. This isn't anything new. People have been doing this since the dawn of time. I'm just hoping that we don't turn into those countries to where we think it's okay to, kill political leaders because you don't like them. I think that our system somewhat still works. Hopefully. And look, if the guy that you want doesn't get in come November, that's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
And I think that hopefully you're good enough to understand that you lose sometimes and you're going to take the 4 years with some kind of dignity, because that's what we're doing right now. You don't see people out burning cities to the ground because inflation's high. You just kind of take it and hope that the next person gets in and tries to figure it out and fix it. And I think that if that, he gets in again for another 4 years, I'm hoping that the people stand tall to that and don't do anything crazy, because it's just going to really further tear this country apart.
Well, there's definitely ways that we all need to start acting, and assassinating anybody or fighting with anybody like that on that level is not the way you solve conflict.
Correct.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. And I think even with your friends, it's like, how many people lost friends over the first election?
I don't think I lost any, but my friends and I know that there's certain things we just don't talk about, and there's certain things they won't talk about with me personally. Mm-hmm. And anything political starts that, they just don't. I won't. I don't listen to it. I don't want to hear it. I give it about 2 minutes and then I'm out the door.
Yeah, I do my best to just not get involved in a lot of that rhetoric. Again, it all matters. Some things I'll stand up for. Like I said, I'm a gun right guy, so but I do my best to bring facts. I don't just go, you should have a gun because you should have a gun. It's like, look, there's things you need to talk about. Matter of fact, I was just at lunch with some friends and that came up and I had to throw some facts at somebody. And even they were like, oh. It's like, yeah, like don't listen to the media over that. Really look into real facts through government agencies. And then you're going to find out that, oh, wait a second, they're pushing a narrative. And that's with everything. Like you can pick your poison. Like, you know that and I found out this many years later. Did you know that the food pyramid is upside down? It's totally wrong. Everything that we were taught as children is utter bullshit. And it was done through companies that wanted to make sure that things got sold.
It was good marketing.
Yeah, like milk and grain and bread and certain things. It's like, oh yeah, we weren't supposed to do that. So again, like do your research and hopefully, going forward and coming into this election season, we can all be friends and hopefully people don't do anything crazy. And, let's not shoot people because you don't believe in what they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that we just need to chill the fuck out.
We could just stop that. That would be a good thing because the person that died wasn't a part of that.
Yeah, he was just there. I mean, he was a believer in, I guess, Trump, but he didn't deserve to get shot just because he was there. I think that, and that goes for everything. Like, if you're out there protesting, do it the right way. Because, people do crazy shit and then lots of people get hurt. So let's not go down that route. But, yeah, so politics, we don't do it on this show very often for a reason. But I do believe that, this is kind of a big deal. So anything else there, miss?
No, be kind. Be kind.
Be kind. Be kind to everybody.
Everybody has a different opinion, but that doesn't mean we can't enjoy the things that we find in common.
That is very true. And it's an opinion show. Don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. Listen to us on all the places that you can listen to podcasts. Share it with all your friends. Check out our social medias, even though I haven't been updating them lately and I'm going to get fired. Besides that, chill out, guys. And until next Wednesday, I'm Rob. That's Tina. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.